24 days to the African Cup of Nations. The talks are all surrounding which players have been called up. Now, the rumors are that 5 locally based players have been included in Coach Chris Hughton's provisional 55-man squad. We're going to look at who those players are and the squad possibly likely to be in Ivory Coast come the 13th of January. We're going to discuss Fatawu Issahaku, another brilliant night for the Ghana Black Stars man. The youngster is developing nicely with his club side Leicester City on loan from Sporting CP. A brace of assists last night. And the question being posed by many on social media is that should he still go to the African Cup of Nations, considering the fact that the Afcon will still be ongoing when club football is also ongoing. And he is on a roll. Should he gamble those two? Should he follow his national team to Ivory Coast? Or should he stay and continue his development with Leicester City? We'll look at that and what people have been saying online about Fatawu Issahaku. But as usual, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Click on the notification bell to get more updates. We'll jump right into it and first talk about the provisional squad report. Chris Hughton on the 13th of December, well, the deadline was 14th, provided CAF with his provisional list of players for the African Cup of Nations. CAF have announced that all 24 participating nations submitted the squad list on the deadline day. It's not been made public yet. As we all know, provisional list is not compulsory to be made public. It's just CAF that needs to have it. So provisional lists will not be announced by the FA. The final list date should be presented is on the 3rd of January, and that is probably when we'll get the final 27 players. An optional 4 players can be added, but CAF will have 23 players. Every country will have 23 players to select from on each match day. But the rumors arrive, as is always the case heading into a tournament like the African Cup of Nations, where Ghana is expected to shine. The last edition was nothing to talk about. But Ghana coach Chris Hughton is reported to have named 5 players in his provisional 55-man squad. The list includes the trio from Mediama and Richmond Lamptey, who have been excellent this season and has the support of many to be included in the final squad for the tournament in Ivory Coast. Now, according to reports, the local players selected by Chris Hughton include Ibrahim Salifu of Accra Heart of Oak, Asante Kotokos, Richmond Lamptey, and Mediama striker Jonathan Soa, defender Fatawu Abdul Hamid, and goalkeeper Felix Che. The professional list was submitted to CAF last week, and Chris has until 3rd January to finalize his selection, reducing the squad to the final 27 players for the tournament. Ghana are placed in Group B alongside Cape Verde, Egypt, and Mozambique. 13th of January is the kickoff date there. So Chris Hughton has selected his players. He will have to reduce it down to a further 27. It's reported that he's submitted 55 players to the Confederation of African Football for consideration for the African Cup of Nations. I'm sure all those players have been informed that they will be playing possibly at the Afcon. Until now, to the 3rd of January, when camping probably will begin. Before then, we will have knowledge of players who will go there finally. The 3rd of January, final squad list has to be announced, and we know who will be representing us at the competition. It's going to be interesting to see who makes the cut. It's obvious about some of those that will make the final cut, including probably Antoine Semenyo, Kudus Mohamed, Iñaki Williams. We're expecting those 3 guys to obviously be included. It's going to be a tough decision, cutting 55 players to 27, more than half, but someone has to do it, and Chris is in the unenviable position of that one there. My next story has to do with Fatawu Issahaku. The Ghana Black Stars man is enjoying life with Leicester City, but it begs the question, now that he's enjoying life, a brace of assists last night, does it mean that should he go to the African Cup of Nations, that momentum he has built now would be lost and he could possibly lose his starting berth? Should he go to the African Cup of Nations or stay with his club side, Leicester City, and continue his development? This was a talk that was generated on social media. And Ghanaians have advised Abdul Fatawu Issahaku, most of them, to ditch the Afcon. After all, Ghana is probably not going to win it. So why would you mess up your development for a tournament where you know probably you might not get as much playing time, or your country will not even go any further? This is the best version the player has been since his sensational performance at the Under-20 African Cup of Nations, which landed him a move to Sporting CP. He's found his feet and currently one of the key players at Leicester City while on loan from Sporting Lisbon. The majority of Ghanaians in that regard have advised the winger to focus on his development at Leicester and thus should decline a Black Stars move. Some argue that he does not have a guaranteed spot in the Black Stars, hence leaving Leicester at this moment to sit on the bench for the national team would be a poor decision to make. Fatawu Issahaku is in fine form as he provided 2 assists in Leicester City's 3-2 win over Birmingham on Monday. That's yesterday. He currently has 7 goal involvements, 2 goals and 5 assists in 19 games in all competitions. He ranks 10th on the list of most assists in the championship, trailing the leader Jorginho Rata by 4 goals. So, should Abdul Fatawu Issahaku go to the African Cup of Nations, or should he stay with his club side? I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments box right now. I feel the African Cup of Nations is an important competition. I also feel if the European countries wanted to pause for us to play the African Cup of Nations and come back, they could easily do it. We all did it for a World Cup. Yes, the World Cup is bigger than the African Cup of Nations, but it's still a competition in which majority of clubs in Europe have players of African descent that excel for them. Boniface for Bayer Leverkusen playing in that competition. They will benefit from having a break and having the Afcon played with all concentration, and then we come back to the African Cup of Nations. I've been an advocate for this. I think it's possible. At first I didn't think it was, but we've done it with the World Cup. We can do it and have a winter break in January for the European top leagues, so other African players would not be caught in such a situation where they have to choose between playing for their national team and then playing for their club side. Allegiances will be tested, and players sometimes, through no fault of theirs, have to go for a decision that might not, and I repeat, might not be the best for a lot of people concerned. But let me know what you think in the comments box. Should he go to the African Cup of Nations? Should he reject a call up to the national team? I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great week.